When I was in my late 20s and early 30s, I simply assumed that because I was fit and healthy and looked after myself, that I didn't smoke, only drank moderately, that I would be able to fall pregnant really easy. Because hey, my body had always done what it was supposed to do. Why would pregnancy be any different? And I really didn't understand the impacts of age on fertility. Through that 5-year period of secondary infertility, I just felt like everything had to be put on hold. And my job is a very public facing one, so I had to turn up and commentate netball games and work on television and radio as if everything was fine and I was happy, but inside I was dying because we were going through this process where there were so many emotional ups and downs, there were so many decisions to be made that you almost had to make with very little information or very little understanding because I'm not trained in that area and neither is my husband. So, it's such a difficult time of your life and it can be very lonely and very isolating because you're not sure how much to speak about it, how much people want to hear about it. You want to keep a certain amount of things to yourself. Through that time I had 3 miscarriages. For me, it was a very private grief, losing babies like that, especially. They were all difficult, but the third one, I was in my 40s, we'd seen a heartbeat, we had so much hope, and then to miscarry at that period was so difficult, and I really did go through a whole grieving process for that baby. So, but all the while you're trying to function as a normal person and do your job and maintain your relationships with your friends and family, yet there's this whole secret side that's going on that is really all-encompassing, and it's so overwhelming. I wish that we had started trying sooner every day, and actually after my last miscarriage I went through a period where I beat myself up terribly for not taking action sooner, for not preserving my fertility. I got married when I was 26, so I had my sperm donor very young, and we wasted all those fertile years. We made the decision early we weren't going to have kids, but really it was more a decision about we weren't going to try and have kids until after I'd finished my sporting career and my husband was a bit more settled with his business. So, my husband kept saying to me after I'd had my miscarriage, it's okay, we made the decisions that we made that were best for us at the time. You had a little bit on, trying to win World Cups and gold medals, and he had a point, but it still doesn't stop you regretting the decisions that you didn't make. Yeah, look, it's funny, isn't it? When I was sort of 18, I felt the best time to have a baby was my late 30s because I would be settled. In my late 30s, I realised the best time physically and physiologically to have a baby is when you're 16, right? Because that's when you're set up for it. But there's that 20 years in between that you actually can plan. So yeah, I would say in your early to mid 20s, start to plan for, it's not a decision you're making then that you're going to have a family, but start to plan for how you will approach it if circumstances dictate that it's going to be towards the end of your fertile window. No, like when I think back to my sex ed classes, it was all about putting a condom on a cucumber, right? Fantastic. That doesn't really help you understand how the female body works and how you might live your life so that eventually any plans that you have for a family come to fruition. Like there's a massive yawning, gaping hole where education about your body, your cycles, and how to start a family should be. It's just not there. It is absolutely worth researching options, and I think knowledge is power. The thing about IVF that I didn't realise until I was in it is that there is no guarantee of a baby at the end of it. And I went into it thinking it was going to be a backstop, right? So if everything else failed, then I would go and do IVF and fall pregnant and have a baby. And it wasn't until we were 3 cycles down and I'd had a miscarriage and we were getting less eggs with each cycle and only coming up with 1 or 2 embryos that I realised that IVF is not a guarantee of a baby. The decisions that you make now can actually affect your fertility long term. So things like deciding about alcohol consumption, drug use, maintaining a healthy weight, being active and having an active lifestyle. They're all things that are general health factors, but they can also have a massive contribution to your fertility, and that is male and female. There's plenty of evidence now to suggest that if you're male and you are overweight, it has an effect on sperm quality and sperm quantity. So there's things that you can address from a really young age and decisions that you can make from a really young age that will actually hold you in much better stead further down the line.